Coming back to Galatians 2:11 through 21 with Paul opposes Peter, part 2. It says Galatians 2:11 through 21 is about the Apostle Paul confronting the Apostle Peter for hypocrisy, and then using the incident to teach that salvation comes through faith in Jesus Christ, not by following the laws. Paul rebuked Peter for withdrawing from the Gentile believers out of a fear of Jewish Christians, which contradicted the gospel that they both preached. The passage emphasizes that since no one can perfectly keep the law, righteousness and justification are a gift from God through faith in Christ, which means a new life lived by His power, not by human effort. Key points and meaning. Peter's hypocrisy. In Antioch, Peter initially ate with Gentile believers, but later separated himself when Jewish Christians from Jerusalem arrived. Paul confronted him for this because it implied that Gentiles needed to follow Jewish law to be fully accepted by God, which Paul argued was a rejection of the gospel's truth. Justification by faith. Paul uses the confrontation to reinforce the core message of his letter. A person is made right with God or justified through faith in Jesus, not by performing the works of the law. He argues that if righteousness came through the law, then Christ's death would have been unnecessary. A new life in Christ. Paul explains that when he died to the law through his faith in Christ, he was no longer living for himself. Instead, he now lives his life by faith in the Son of God, who loved him and gave himself for him. The importance of confronting error. The passage highlights that it is necessary for believers to correct one another, even when it is uncomfortable, especially when the truth of the gospel is at stake. It shows that upholding the integrity of the gospel is more important than maintaining appearances or avoiding conflict. As we jump back a little bit where it says he argues that if the righteousness